Hi, it's Sarah here from Crafting and Stamping, and I'm back with my monthly online workshop, and I've got a few cards to share with you tonight and a little Easter basket as well. So I'm hoping that you enjoy what I've got prepared for you, and now I'm going to just see about swapping over to my desktop. So where's that? There we are. Let's try and just get this tidied up a little bit. There we are. Hi Lynn, thank you for joining me, and hopefully I can get something on my computer to see what's happening with that, as I won't be able to carry on watching the phone all night. So as always with my online workshops, I'm going to share a bunch of different projects tonight. It's obviously free for you to watch, and hopefully you get some inspiration to be able to recreate these projects for yourselves. If you'd like to place an order with me, then there's going to be some goodies for you, and the usual thing as always, if you buy anything from me, no matter sort of what price, then you'll get a thank you card from me. If you spend over £30, then you're also going to get our April Ideas tutorial bundle. I'm part of a bigger worldwide group of Stampin' Up demonstrators, and we put together a tutorial bundle every month. If you spend over £45, you'll get the tutorial bundle, thank you card, and this little make and take pack. This is what we're going to be using tonight. If you spend over £60, then you're going to get the thank you, the tutorial bundle, the make and take pack, and a pack of rhinestones, the standard rhinestones. Okay, so just wish I could find my video to be able to, let's see, just see if I can find it. That doesn't seem to be working, so I'm not going to worry about it. So these are what we're working with tonight. I have checked before I came online. As you might know, the old catalogue is about to retire. So that old catalogue is this one, and this retires at the end of this month. And so some of these things are going. Now, I'm going to be using some things out of here tonight. The Plentiful Plants bundle will still be available. It may not be at a discount for being a bundle. I forgot to double check that. The papers that you can get that match this won't be available going forward. So I'm using those tonight. Like I say, the dies and the stamps will still be available, but not this DSP. The other thing that I'm using is the On the Horizon bundle, New Horizons Suite, sorry. So I'm using the On the Horizon bundle, and this is not carrying forward to the new catalogue. So it's still going to be around until the end of June, or while supplies last. Sometimes if it gets close to the end, then we can't get any more. But these are available now, and I'm going to be using a little bit of the cotton ribbon. I'm going to be using the Pebbles enamel shapes and the designer series paper, as well as some of the stamps and dies. So that's what I'm using tonight. So let's just put those to one side and go back to, if I can find, here we go. Oh, right. Oops, let's see if I can, there we go. I found myself, so now if people comment, I should be able to see that. So we'll start tonight with, I think we'll start with this card. Now the On the Horizon pack has got lots of fabulous papers within it that create little scenes, or you can use them to create little scenes. Let me get the actual pack. So I've got a pack here. I picked out some of the ones that I thought were particularly good, but we've got all of these here, and you've got pretty watermarked kind of papers on one side. This reminds me of the encaustic art. And then we've got on the other side these that can make some beautiful scenes, and I'm going to be using some of these tonight for these scenes. You may get, because there's only so many sheets of each design in a pack, you may get slightly different in your make and take pack. So just so you're aware about that. So I did create one of these earlier, so I'm going to share it with you. And I'm using a slightly different pattern for the one that I'm making tonight. So, and I forgot to check about the Misty Moonlight. That may have gone now. I'm using some of our retiring in colours, and some of these retiring in colours have sold out already. We're at that point where things do sell out. So if there's anything that you're wanting, grab it while it's there. So I'm going to be using, like I say, the On the Horizon stamp set. And I've obviously picked out one or two of these already. Now, because this is one of these red rubber stamps, let me grab a block. It's possible I might not have mounted it exactly straight. So let's see. I usually like to just stamp my stamp, make sure that it looks kind of straight to me, and stamp it on my grid paper. And I can see it's going up a little at that end. So if it's going up a little at that end, then when I stamp it on this piece of card, I'm going to angle that down just a little. So I'm just going to rotate it just a tiny bit. And that looks perfect. So that's our sentiment there. You could, if you wanted to, simply stamp that here. So that's the other great thing about some of these papers. You've got places where you can stamp quite easily. And I'm going to stamp the birds now up in the corner of here. They show up much better on that pattern, but I'm going to give it a go with this and see how it turns out. So it's worth just double checking. It really wants to be that way up for the birds to be flying the right way, as it were. And I'm just going to stamp that there and make sure that I don't rock my stamp. So they don't show up, like I say, quite as much as they did on the other one, because we've got the plain sky up there. But I like this as well. So I've cut a layer of Blackberry Bliss paper, and I'm just going to adhere this direct to the Blackberry Bliss before wrapping the ribbon around. So we're going to pop this on, and I'm using the wet glue because it's got a narrow margin on this one. So I want to be able to slide that until it looks central. And that's looking pretty good. Turn over and press from the back so that I don't smudge my ink. And then I'm going to grab my tear and tape. I like to use my tear and tape to secure my ribbon, and You get 2 colours of this ribbon in the pack, this Misty Moonlight and Petal Pink. So it's a really nice thin ribbon. So it's great to be able to tie this around. It's not going to add too much bulk. So I'm just going to pop that on the back, peel off the backing, and then wrap that around and secure it like that. And then I can see how to get it straight at the other end. So, and I'm going to another piece of ribbon, and I'm just going to tie it on in a knot. Just make sure that I've got that right, straight all the way across. Probably got a little bit extra there, so, and I need to clean my scissors again. I've just been cutting some sticky backed Velcro for my team meeting next week, and it's really gummed my scissors up, so although they were clean at the beginning of the week, they need sorting out again now. So I'm just going to tie on this little piece, so no worrying about being able to do a bow, and because it's tied on I can move it around if I want to. So I'm going to stick this onto, again, Blackberry Bliss. And these are just very skinny strips, great for using up offcuts. So using up your scraps to make this, and we'll stick this. So this is a Misty Moonlight base. Let's take those out. Let's insert another strip, and you can use whichever glue you're happiest with. I often use Seal, but I'm using a bit of the multi-purpose liquid glue tonight because there's a few times where I want to be able to slide the card layers around, so I might as well stick with that. And I'm going to grab my dimensionals, and I just want to snip myself a little edge piece of the dimensionals. So I was going to pop this just at one edge and just add some more. I need some more edge pieces. These are really handy for these skinny strip sentiments. And I'll just pop that on there, and this is going to go over the ribbon. So we'll pop that on there like that. You've got that lovely little mountain scene in the back. And now we can decide, do we want to just move that knot over a tiny bit and snip the ends like that. And there's our card front. On the insert, I've used some more of the stamps from this On the Horizon, and I'm going to do the same thing again. So I'm going to use the Breathe, and I'm going to use these grasses. These grasses work great for this sort of scene. Now I've kept a strip that I cut away. Let's have a look. It may have been, I think it was one of the, it's part of this that I've just cut away, so I've kept that, and I'm going to just pop this on the inside. What I will do though is stamp these first, so that if I make a mistake I can flip my card. I'm just going to use black for this, and we'll put that way on so that it's nice and well balanced on the block. And then I'll just stamp those grasses down in that corner like that, and I should have got another smaller block to be able to do the breathe. Again, I'll just test this and see whether it's on straight, and that one wants bringing up just a tiny bit on the left. So there we are, and again that's nice and straight. So it can be difficult to get the stamps to be absolutely straight when you're putting the stickers on, so that's one way to. I'm always using my grid paper background for all sorts of things. It is so handy. Now this is shorter than this insert, so I'm just going to pop it so that it's even between the top and the bottom. And there we go. So I'm just trying to see my screen, an advert had popped up in my way. So I like to go around the edges and then in the centre for my card layers, and we'll pop that on, just slide it into place. When I'm happy it's in place, flip it over and press from the back. And that is our first card tonight. So really nice and simple, and like I say, different patterns work just as well. So next we're going to use the same papers and create this little card. Now this I have textured. Where's my pack? Find the right pack, because I'm going to show you how I cut the card front. So I've got one that I've prepared in true Blue Peter fashion. Here we go. So I've got one that I've already done ready, but I'm going to show you what I did about cutting this card. So we'll just pop these out. We've got the beautiful enamel pebbles that we're going to use to just decorate this, and I think that this works rather nicely as a man's card, but it's up to you. If you want to use it for a lady, that's perfectly okay. So I'm just going to double check what size I cut this to, and it's 2.5 by 4.25. So I've got a piece here like this, and I'm going to cut this so that this bit, it's slightly different, a slightly different piece. There are two very similar. This would be the exact same, but I'm going to go with this one. It's got a slightly smaller bit of water, as it were, and I'm going to pop this on here, and it was 2.5, so I'm going to cut a bit off this side because I want to keep this bit on as the water. Then I'll flip it around and pop it at 2.5, and that will give me 2.5 that way. Then I want to keep a good amount down here for putting my little fence on. So I'm going to pop this on here. I'm going to pop the little fence and then I'm going to trim just below where I want the little fence. And I'll flip this around, and it was 4 1/4, so I'm going to trim it at 4 1/4 there. And there we've got another layer, just the same but a different pattern, same size, different pattern here. So your pack will have one of these in. Now the other thing is, those pieces that I've cut away, we can use to die cut out the grass. Both of them have got green on the back, slightly different greens, but both of them work well with this card. So I've already die cut that out. Let me show you the matching dies. So these are the Horizon dies, and they are fabulous. We've got 2 different sizes of fence. We've got mountains and cutaways so that you can layer those together. We've got trees, we've got little beach huts, we've got grass, and we've got pieces that could be basically whatever you want them to be. So they could be water, they could be more mountains, softer mountains. And we've got this piece here that actually cuts out the wood panel here. So these don't match, you'd need to use those separately. That's the one that actually works with the stamps. So I've already used the grass die and cut out the grass. And what we're going to do for this card is, we're not adding too much. I'm just going to pop a sentiment, and that's why I wanted to make sure that I'd got some space here to be able to add the sentiment above. Now, we've not got a birthday sentiment, a proper birthday sentiment in this set, so I am borrowing from the art gallery. I was borrowing from the art gallery, and I've already got that stamp out somewhere, so I'm going to need to find it. And that's probably on a block somewhere. I'm not sure quite where that's going to be. Right, so let's see, I'll use the best wishes instead, because I still want to make this a birthday sentiment. Now I'm sure I've assembled this on a block, because it's one of these that I have cut apart. A lot of my sentiment stamps I do cut apart because it makes them particularly useful. I can split the words across different lines, and then I can just reassemble them if I want to. If I want to use them all on one line, like I do now, I just pop them back together on the block. And again, I'm going to test this out. It'll turn up after I've done this. So I'm going to use Evening Evergreen. Let's just move that to one side. And I'll just test it. Again, that looks straight. So this does look like it might need re-inking. So I have used it quite a lot. So I'm just going to stamp, being careful not to rock the stamp, because you can see all the ink I've got on there. I should have had my mat underneath, but we've got away with it. So what I'm going to do now, we've got that done and I'm happy with it. So I'm going to stick this onto here. Let's just move that so I don't get ink anywhere. So It's an Evening Evergreen mat that I've got, and it's an Evening Evergreen card base. Now the Evening Evergreen is one of the in colours that is carrying through to next year. This one's staying at the moment. It will go next year, but we've got it for now. So I'm going to take that out for the moment. And I've used pale papaya, and I've put it through an embossing folder to give it a little bit of texture for this layer. So again, I'm just going to stick this on direct onto my card front, and I just liked the contrast that we'd got with that, and it just picks up a little bit of that sand maybe that we've got in the scene here. So there we are, and I'm going to assemble this first and then pop it up, but there's no right or wrong, it really doesn't matter. And for the little fence post, die cut from basic white card, just put a few tiny bits of multi-purpose liquid glue, and I'm going to pop that to the edge like that. Then we've got our grass, and again we just need a little bit that sort of takes us all the way to the end like that. Some of these tufts will be loose, and if you want to you can sort of tease them up, and I'm using them over the top of the fence, and just make sure that the fence is stuck down. And then I've got a few little enamel pebbles, and we're just going to pop these at the end of the fence post. Right, so that has actually all lifted up, so I'll just show you if this happens to you. Just pop that down, because that's the coloured backing for it, so I obviously need to be a bit more careful lifting this. Right, and I'm going to need to put a tiny bit of glue, which will dry clear. It looks white, but it will dry clear. And I'll get this the right way around, match it up, and allow that to dry. So I'll be careful now. What it's best to do is peel, fold, if you like, curl or fold that back, and pop your pokey tool just underneath. And I'm going to pop that one just down there like that. So same thing, if I just curl that back, it lifts it away so that I'm not pulling it away from the backing. But sometimes it's handy for you to see if I do make a mistake, so that you can see how I fix it. Hi Sue! And I can see Pat's on as well, is she? Hi Pat! Sorry I wasn't watching fully. So I'm going to pop a couple extra there. I like to do all my corners and then a bit in the centre. So there we are. So like I say, these colours are carrying over. I'll keep telling you when it's something that might not be around. But obviously if you get a make and take pack from me, you'll have got everything in there that you need. So there we are with that. And for this, I've used the stamps. So for my insert, what I love is this relax sentiment. this is a great one, I think, to go with birthday sentiments. So let me get a bigger block, and don't want too big, but wants to be big enough. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment first, because that's the one that is more likely to go wrong. So I'm going to just stamp that, and I know that this one stamps pretty straight. So peel that off, pop it to one side, and I'm going to grab the trees, and I've already got the birds, which I need to just give a quick clean. Because I've used them with black, and now I'm sticking actually with the evening evergreen, so that these are all sewn in. So I've got my birds. It's inkier than I thought. So I'm going to stamp those up here, flying off the edge of the page, like that. And then I'll grab the trees, make sure that's inked all the way to the edge, and then I'm going to just stamp the trees down here like that. So let's move my ink pad out of the way so there's no accidents, and we can stick this now into our card. And if you get a little bit of a gap in the glue like that, it's just an air bubble, so I just shook the glue down. And we'll put that inside. I'm trying hard not to get ink smudges on, because my fingers are getting a little bit inky. And there we are. So we've got our 2 cards made with the Horizons bundle. So slightly different, only just slightly. So there we go, that's our Horizons. Now I'm going to move on to a different set. So we're going on to this other bundle. Let me move these out of the way and grab the next one. So we're going to be using the Perfect Plants and the Plentiful Plants. Now this one I have made with the stamps to show you. So I've stamped the plant pot and the leaves, and then used a die cut over the top here. Let me grab the card pack. Where's my card pack gone? Here we are. And instead we're going to be using, because I can't send stamped images, it's part of the Stampin' Up policy, I've die cut out from the paper exactly the same plant pot and leaves, different leaves in this case, but where's my other pack of this? Yeah, that's the same as well, but there are different leaves that you can cut out. Let me grab the paper. This is the DSP, and this is still available at the moment. We've got these wonderful pieces that I've used as the background, Then we've got ones that have got all sorts of leaves. Oops, sorry. And these are the dies. Let me show you what we've got in the die set. So we've got dies that will cut out these leaves here, and then we've got a different die that will cut out these ones, not these. You need to fussy cut these if you want them, but we've got these ones. So there's those two, and let me just pop those there. You've also got the ones that will cut out the cactus. So you've got the little cactus there. And then we've got various plant pots, and we've got dies that cut these out as well. So we've got this one, we've got this, and we've got the plant pot. So they're all great for cutting out various plant pots. But this paper is retiring. So if you want it, grab it now while we've still got it. You will still be able to get dies afterwards, and you'll be able therefore to be able to stamp and die cut your own out. But it's really nice being able to do the sort of quick version. Right, so I've used the Colour and Contour dies for the scallops, and I'm going to use the Thank You, which I've already got on a block. This was one of those that I've snipped apart, so that's how come I've put it together already on the block. And I'm going to be using Just Jade. I think you can still get the ink, but not the cardstock. So it's possible you might not be able to get that now. And I will remember to bring this in this time. And this just fits, but it is a bit of a squish. It just fits on this scallop label. There we are. So I've got a thank you. Like I say, I'm not actually stamping the plant pot, etc. this time. Move that out of the way. I'm actually going to glue these in place, and I'm just going to pop them on roughly to start, just so that I can see where I want to put them. And then I'll just put a bit of glue on the back for these. That looks about central. And the leaves, there we are. And I've die cut, you've got these macrame frames as well. So I've die cut this from crumb cake, and I've got a bit of linen thread here. I've just put the two ends together, and I'm going to pull that through in a little loop like that, and that is going to go over the top like this to hold it. So there's just a few points where I can put little dabs of glue, put a little bit more just there. These are just going to have dabs because I don't want to have glue oozing out everywhere. You could also just pop a mine's gone. A brad through this, through the top of the holder here. And I'm going to just flip this over and grab some tear and tape to hold this in place. And why does that keep moving down? There we go. So I'm going to put these over the top like that and just hold that there. And now we can start to assemble. So we've got these beautiful brickwork kind of patterns on the back, so whichever way round you want it. If you want it that way, go ahead. If you get the make and take pack from me, I'm using it with the leaves showing, and there we are. Leave that out. Again, I've taken a strip from the bottom, and we'll just grab some dimensionals, and I'm not taking the backing off that tear and tape because it's just to hold the linen thread in place. It's not to stick anything down. So there we are, just take our backings off. And we're going to pop that up there and just go sort of midway side to side. And then we're going to pop a few more dimensionals on our sentiment here. And pop that down, and that is about the same width as the one above, so just want to get that, tuck it underneath the, there we are, underneath the fronds, there we go, there we are. And what did I do with this? Right, I just used another sentiment on the inside. So a little note with the biggest thanks, and of course these are photopolymer, so you can see right through to see where you're stamping. And I'm looking for my mat, here we are. When I'm using photopolymer, I like to make sure that I've got a mat underneath. If using red rubber, the red rubber provides that little bit of cushion. So I'm going to stamp this now here in the centre, and add our little bit of, again you've got the same, it's the same pattern, so if you're wanting brickwork on the front, you've still got a choice then of whether you want the brickwork or the leaves on the inside. So there is a bit of a right way up with the leaves. I should have mentioned that when I did the front cover. So just check that most of your plants are growing upward. And now we'll close this and stick this inside. There we are. So that is another card for us tonight. Now our final project is a little bit different. We're going to make a quick Easter basket. So what we've got is this. So I've got a piece of card here. This is just jade again, and it's 6 by 6. So this is something that you can do at home. I'm going to use my scoreboard, but you can use a paper trimmer. I'm just going to score it. It's dead easy. It's 2 inches and it's 4 inches. And turn, and 2 inches and 4 inches. And so you should have got a grid of 3 by 3 2-inch squares. And we're just going to use our scissors to cut up. You could use your paper trimmer if you prefer, and I'm just going to cut up the bottom ones as following the score line as far as the intersection and turn it around top to bottom and do the same thing on the opposite side. And then when we've got those done, we can then fold and burnish when I can find my bone folder. I would if I could find my bone folder. I don't know where that's gone. So I'll have to just burnish with my fingers. Not as effective. And we're just going to fold all of those lines. And I've got 2 pieces of the DSP here, and these are 5 1/4 by 1 3/4, and we're just going to cut these now. Where's my trimmer? So they are 1 3/4 wide, and we're just going to cut them into 3 squares. So 1 3/4 inch squares. So that's that. And it's the same pattern as I've used on the card. So this basket could go with the card, or you can use it separately. And you could even make this out of DSP if you wanted, but it won't be as strong. So you then decide. I've, on this one, put the panels on these ones here, the cut ones. What I'm actually going to do this time to show you the difference is I'm going to put them on these ones, so it will have them on the end panels as well. I've left things like this so that if you want to, you can match up the patterns. Don't think that's that, but I'm not worrying about matching the patterns. That's something that you can do if you want to. So we're just going to glue these on and just glue them into the centre of our panels. If you wanted, you could cut even more. If you're doing this with your own DSP at home, you could cut even more squares and do all of the squares around the outside. And just try and make sure that the leaves are the right way up again. That's, there we are. And we'll flip it around and glue the squares down on the other side. As long as they're on opposite sides, that's the key bit. And I might have cut one of these slightly wrong, but you really aren't going to be able to tell that much. So now, if you've got, if you're doing this as an Easter basket, if you've got an Easter sentiment, you'll be able to use that at the next step. You can fill this obviously with Easter eggs, or you could put a little plant in it, in keeping with what we've got here. So now we've got strips here, and this is 3/4 inch by, I've done this 8 1/4. Basically it was taken off the edge of an A4 sheet, that's why it's 8 1/4. It doesn't really matter too much about that. And then this one is 1/2 inch wide and the same length. So this is going to make our handle. So I'm just going to put some glue on here. And put this in the centre of that card there. Like that. We've got some Just Jade ribbon, which we'll be retiring. We won't be able to get that in future. And I've used the scallop circles. Just cut a couple of scallop circles here for this. Now I just stamped this with the plant pot, and I picked out this one. So we'll grab our mat back again. Put that out of the way for the moment. And I've used some Cajun Praise ink for the plant pot. Like I say, you could do this saying Happy Easter if you're making this yourself and you've got the layering circles. Then you could, if you wanted to, put a sort of plant pot on one side and Happy Easter on the other. I've just done the one side for this. And we'll grab the Just Jade. Pull that off. This block's a bit big for this, but I know I can get away with it. And I'm just going to stamp that over the top like that. And it goes off the edges. I need to clean my mat because it's got some ink on it. But there we are. Right, so now we're going to glue these two together. And then we're going to use some tear and tape. You want a strong glue for putting the basket together. Just, there we are. So what we're going to do, we fold in the centre and then we fold up the two sides so that they overlap. So if you want to, you can use wet glue, but I like to use a bit of tear and tape, and just need to be careful that you don't go too far with the tear and tape so that it sort of shows beyond, because otherwise you're going to get things stuck together. So I just use a little bit in the corners like this. The other thing that you can do, if you've got brads, you can just pokey tool to get the backing off. If you've got brads, you can use a brad to hold these together in the centre to make your basket. You'd really want the wide brads that we've got. We've got two sort of different sizes. The wide ones would be much better for securing this. So I just get those overlapped and press them together like that. So I have actually still got a bit of tear and tape here, so I need to be careful that I don't use quite as much on my next side. So I'm going to do the same here. If you do end up with the tear and tape like that, then you can just peel it back a little bit and peel it off. It will pull up if you do it early on. If you leave it, it'll have dried too much and you won't be able to. So the other thing you could do is pop a little bit of talc on there to stop it being sticky. So I'll use slightly smaller bits for this one. And put those in the corners there. And use my pokey tool to get the backing off. Oops. There we are. And this is a design that I bring out every Easter. I just swap it up with different papers, different colours. So we'll get those overlapped so that they meet like that. That's good, I've not gone beyond this time. And here's my bone folder, there it is. So I'm just going to curl the handle with the bone folder like that. And we're going to want tear and tape again, like I say, because it's a strong adhesive. And I'll use a couple of pieces at the end like that, and a couple at the other end. So just a word of warning, I'm afraid our prices have already gone up on postage, in line with postage rate rises everywhere. The new catalogue coming out in May the 3rd, I believe it is. There will be a few price increases in there as well. I'm sorry, but unfortunately it's the way of the world at the moment. Everything's increasing in price. So if there are things that are retiring, grab them, and if there are things that you think you might not be able to afford in future, it might be as well to get them now, particularly if it's a bundle that might not be available in future with the 10% off. So there's our basket, and I'm just going to grab a few dimensionals, use a trio of dimensionals like that, and then pop that up on the front. As you can see, the difference with this, if I bring the other one in, is we've got the plain bit triangle down here, and now the ends of our basket are covered. So entirely up to you which way around you want to do that. And then I'm going to pop that there, so you don't miss much by not having that one. And then I've got the Just Jade ribbon, and I'm just going to tie that on in a bow like that. Of course, if you're local and you want to order, you can still jump on my order and save on postage, but please note that I'm probably not going to put as many orders in a month. I will cut back myself on postage, not have as many parcels, so that I just pay the same amount for more things arriving at once. So there we are. That's our projects for tonight. We've got our Easter basket, if you want it to be an Easter basket, a basket anyway. And I've covered up the other cards that I've made. Oh, there we go. Here we are. And we've got the Horizons cards. So that's our little set of projects tonight. Like I say, if you would like to place an order, I will be putting an order in this week for sure. So if you want to place an order, please get in touch with me. Like I said at the beginning, any order of any size gets a thank you card from me. If your order's over £30, then you'll also get the tutorial bundle as well. If it is over £45, then you're going to get the make and take pack. Like I say, you won't get stamped images, but you will get the making tape pack to be able to make these cards that we've had tonight. And I think we've got one missing. There's another one. So you'll get the making tape pack, you'll get instructions for how to put them together. If you spend over £60, then you'll get the tutorial bundle, the making tape, and a pack of rhinestones as well. So thank you for staying with me tonight. Thank you for watching along, and I'll see you again next month. So thank you and bye.